If money stresses you out, it's probably not because you don't make enough. It's because you don't have a simple system. Financial peace doesn't come from complicated spreadsheets or obsessing over every single dollar. It's not a budget that absolutely drives you crazy and you feel absolutely no freedom from. It comes from clarity, from automation, and knowing that your money has a job. So, in this session today, we are going to talk about organizing your finances in a way that give you more clarity and can help you have more financial freedom and feel secure in doing the right things around your finances. So, thank you so much for joining me. If you hit subscribe, that will really help us out here as we are starting to grow this channel. It's a fairly new channel for us, and by you subscribing, that's going to be a big help. Please like anything and feel free to comment anything in the comments. That's going to help me. I do go back, I try to respond to those comments, so feel free to do so, good or bad. I'm happy to listen. So thank you so much, and let's dive into today's training. So we've talked about organization this week, and we've talked about it in your mindset. We've talked about it in your business. And now today we're going to talk about it in the area of your finances. There are some simple ways that you can organize things that can end up helping you to keep more of your money and to know where your money is going. So the first thing is that you want to create a money clarity or snapshot. And that is know what your monthly income is. So these are things that you should write down. So what is your monthly income? The second one is, what are your fixed expenses? So these are things that you know that you're going to have to pay. They are monthly bills that are going to happen every single month. And so that's number two. Even if these are automated, which I'm guessing that probably 90% of them will be, is you need to write down what they are. Not knowing is the biggest part of the problem in your organization and in trying to save any money. Now you've got another category of variable expenses. So what are those? And those aren't going to be set in stone, and they're probably not going to be automated. So you should have a category for your variable expenses. You want to keep track of your debt totals. How are you knocking that out? So every month you're seeing what your debt is. You want the debt to go down, not to increase every single month. So knowing where you're at and being able to say this amount of money is going toward this debt total, then you are going to finally start to pay those off. We did a session on this, I want to say 2 weeks ago, on getting out of debt. If you want more information on that, you should go check it out. All right, and the last one is your savings total. So that is the way that you want to get clarity around it. So then the second step is, so give every dollar a job. So if you have X amount of your income, so then you're going to go to your fixed expenses. That's why that one is next. All right, now what money is left over? Your variable expenses could be, for example, that could be groceries. So give yourself a budget of what you would like to stay within each of those weeks of that month. Okay, so that's the next one. The next one is, all right, so out of my debt total, so what am I willing to put on this every single month? And then what is going into your savings every single month. So this will tell you how much money you have left over after you do how much money you make, what your fixed expenses are, what roughly some of your variable expenses or budget that you're giving yourself on that. It's not going to exceed this, what's left over. So now you see what's left over, assign that. So this much is going to debt, this much is going into my savings. Now, the best thing that you can do for yourself as soon as you get paid is to, where you've assigned that money, that assigned that dollar, put that into your savings. So pay yourself first and put that money toward that debt. Then your fixed bills should already be what? Already being taken care of. And then you've got that variable expenses. So if you then can see, wow, or something came up, this is going to allow you to then be able to work within that. That is a good strategy to have. All right, so that is number 2, is assign everything. Every dollar has a job. All right, now the next one is to automate as much as you can, but you also need to know what is automated. Just because it's automated, don't lose sight of it. So automation is best so that you don't have late fees. That's the number one reason that you want to have automation, and that it's just taken care of. But the biggest thing is so that you don't have late fees and things don't get lost in the mail. If you can make an automation in today's world, it's pretty simple to do. You should be doing that. So that is the next best thing. If you can't pay that credit card off every single month, then don't use your credit card as a means of just regular living. So for some people that have a difficult time with this, give yourself X amount of cash for those variable expenses, and then that's what you have. And then you're not going to waste that cash. It's a funny thing about having cash is it, especially like for me, I'll have smaller bills, but then I've got $100 bill or $100 bills in there. I don't like to break those up. I don't like to waste that on a $3, or $4 coffee. It's like, not do I really need that? I'm not going to break that up. It's a funny mindset. But if you're always just using your debit card, sometimes your debit card is like that credit card. And then the next thing you know, you've spent way more on these variable expenses than what you really have. So if you don't have good discipline, a good way to get and have more discipline is to use cash for a while till you can really help yourself. Another way is not to have your credit card on you all of the time. So if you are out and about, this can stop impulse buys. And if you think I can't pay that off by the end of the month, then this is how you don't get in debt. We've already talked about this in the past, but that is another little hack, is don't carry it with you all of the time so you're not inclined to have a credit card for emergency that you have in a drawer. Maybe just have your debit card for your regular expenses, and maybe have just one credit card in there for emergencies. Don't have a bunch. Like, this is where people get in trouble as well. So set up automations, but know what those automations are and keep track of that as your monthly expenses. Have separate accounts on purpose. This is probably the best thing that I ever did. Is I've always had my savings, my checking, and what I like to do is just put into, so when I got paid, I put a huge amount into my savings. I had my investments that I sent money to, and then the other went into my checking. If there was ever a time where I needed to move some over, great. But that allowed me, if it was in my savings, I've taught my daughter to kind of live the same way, is don't put all that money in your checking account, because also then you're overusing that debit card and it gets away from you. So put the money in your savings. If you need to transfer some out before the end of the month, great. And guess what? If you don't, then you have extra money at the end of the month, which is a win. And you can watch your savings account begin to go up. So have different accounts designated for your bills, which is typically like your main, like sort of checking account, if you will. You can have a special fund for your savings. It could be the rainy day account. You could split your savings into 2 different areas if you want. So you can have, this is my rainy day account emergency fund that I have set aside. This is for extras. This is, this here going into savings is, we have something for like spending on just whatever you want to do. Don't use up your whole savings account. Watch your savings account grow. So you should have bills, spending, savings, and emergency fund. And everybody should have an emergency fund. For me, and this is hard to get to, but you can get to it, have at least 6 months worth of some of your main bills into an emergency fund, so that if something happened, you would be able to pay your mortgage, or you would be able to pay your main bills every single month out of that for at least 6 months to allow yourself to get a new job, to allow yourself to heal from maybe a situation that you're going through, an accident or something that might happen. Build a starter emergency fund first. So it might be little. It could be just $500 to $1,000 to start out with. And then just decide out of that money what you're going to put into that. If you organize your money and assign it, then you're going to do better with it. Schedule a 15-minute money check-in weekly. So you can do this by yourself. So if you're by yourself, you can do that. But I highly recommend that if you have a spouse or partner, that you say, let's check in. So my husband and I have a weekly check-in where we go over our bills that are together. We have the way we handle it. Still, like every couple does things differently, but we have certain bills that we're each responsible for. And then we might have together things that we have to figure out who's taking care of what. But if I know I'm responsible for this and he's responsible for that, and we're paying that, and then we have our own savings and our own sort of emergency fund, it just works out really well. Because a lot of the emergencies that might come up for him in that emergency fund are things with the car repairs or house repairs that might happen. And mine might be emergency fund. Sometimes I have more house things in there, but like it might be an emergency that comes up with, one of the kids or something that we need to get, something that breaks, like I said, like household things. His is more outside in the car, so that's just the way that we kind of handle it. But you can pick your own system. There is no right or wrong system. The only thing is having a system is right and not having one at all is not a good idea. So other than that, you get to choose and decide, but decide something. Not deciding is people's number one downfall. That's the biggest problem that you allow yourself to get into. Simplify your subscriptions and reoccurring charges. Visit those on a fairly regular basis. I can tell you, not in our personal life, but in our business life and my business life, that's been my number one downfall. And that's because I will get a new employee and they will say, oh my gosh, you don't have this, you need this. And they'll say, can I go ahead? This is what I like to use. Can we order that? Can I add that as a subscription? So now I'm getting a monthly fee for that. And I always say, okay, I think if I've got a new employee and this is what they've used in the past and this really worked for them, I want to make their life super simple. But the next thing I know, then somebody else will come on and we don't cancel that when they leave because now they like a different program or whatever the case is. And so when we do an audit, I'll be like, I'm getting an automatic charge for 4 different things that we're not even using at all. So make sure that you do regular audits of what your subscription charges are. Even with our memberships, like some people will get upset because they'll see a special and they're already a member, but then they'll see like a special that we're running for new members and they decide that's a better deal. So then they join that, but they don't get rid of their other one. And then they're mad at us because they got double charged in a month for the same subscription. That's because you signed up twice. That's not my fault with a different email. So there's no way our system, if you're using and they're trying to work the system is what they're doing. And instead of working the system, they're getting double charged. And instead of saying, oh my goodness, I don't pay attention to my own bills, they get mad at us that we have double charged them. So I get it. But at the same time, you got to take some responsibility and onus for your own subscriptions. I know people that have 3 accounts to Netflix and don't even realize it. And then they do an audit and they're like, oh my gosh, because they signed up for a better deal. And then, but they didn't get rid of the other deal. And it goes on and on and on. Same thing. It's the same exact thing. All right. Use a simple tracking tool. So there is so many different things that you can use. There's so many apps that are really pretty awesome. But if you think that you can't save, if you start just tracking your expenses on and categorize them. What I love is having these different apps, and then it can spit out like you spent this much on clothes. And then you are like at the end of the year, or if you want to even do it quarterly, you're like, what the world? Like you could have never told me I spent that much on clothes. And then you realize it, and then you're like, well, that's just silly. And I can definitely cut that out because I don't need to do that. So by using different app trackers, they'll usually categorize things for you pretty easily. It also makes tax time a whole lot easier. Taxes is another whole topic that we're going to cover here very shortly. So stick around for that. Hope you enjoy what you heard today. They're just some simple tips. That's what we're going to continue to do, is try to help you organize your life a little bit better. Each week will be a new subject. So tune in tomorrow. We're going to have more great information for you on ways to organize your life. So can't wait to see you there. Hit subscribe, follow, and if you want to share, please share with someone that you think might need to hear this. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you again soon.